One Move at a Time, the show where we highlight people and organizations that are advancing our U.S. chess mission statement to empower people, enrich lives, and enhance communities through chess. I'm Dan Lucas, the Senior Director of Strategic Communication at U.S. Chess, and my guest today is Henry Lien, a 17-year-old from the Bay Area of California who started a free after-school chess program for students living in low-income areas. Henry was selected for the 2023 Diller Teen Tikkun Olam Awards, a national prize recognizing teen leaders who are changing the world. The awards recognize 15 Jewish teen leaders across the U.S. each year for their commitment to social justice work. Tikkun Olam is a Jewish value meaning to repair the world. Henry will receive $36,000 in recognition of his work leading ChessPals, an organization he started in 2018 so that more kids, regardless of race, ethnicity, or socioeconomic background, can learn and play chess. Since then, his organization has provided free chess education for over 800 children in 8 elementary schools and 3 city-run camps across 3 school districts in Marin County, California. ChessPals has 5 additional chapters throughout California, Texas, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. A majority of students in ChessPals classes are first-generation Latino students. Henry Lien, welcome to the July edition of One Move at a Time.
It's great to be here, Dan. Thank you so much for having me.
No, I'm glad to talk to you. Let's start with your chess history. Talk about when you started playing, where you are now, what your goals are in chess.
Yeah, so I grew up playing chess. It was something introduced to me by my mom, but also through my school. My school had an existing program with Scholastic Chess. Lynette and Jeff Gordon ran Scholastic Chess in Marin County, and there are huge influences on how I teach and also how I learned. I grew up teaching from probably 5 or 6 years old, learning. But since that age, I've had a real passion for the game, and they had taken us and my team to tournaments in Santa Clara and across California. And that's been a real great experience for learning the game. And currently, I'm still competing. I'm about 1800 USCF rating. And the goal is to become a national master by some point, but that's a lengthy goal with a couple hundred rating points away. And we'll see how that turns out.
And I see that you're an active player. I looked you up and you're playing mechanic quad events this month.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the tournament in LA, the Pacific Coast Open. I'll be there this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So hopefully that turns out well as well. 6 rounds.
Okay. Were either of your parents chess players, older sibling? How did you first discover the game?
Yeah, so my mom has taken to the game, but only because of me. My brother and my dad don't play as much. It's mainly through my school. Again, they had an existing partnership with the chess program in the area run by the Gordons. And so I learned by going to the after-school programs provided by them. And that's when I guess the idea for ChessPals began at a really young age, was realizing how fortunate I was to be exposed to that. But at that age, I didn't have the introspection to realize, maybe not every kid has access to this type of programming.
So that was the germ of the idea of ChessPals. What about the organization name? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so ChessPals, I think it's a compound idea, which is obviously it has to include chess since that's what we're teaching. But the pals aspect comes from the fact that I had a lot of camaraderie and a lot of friendship through chess. And it's a great way to bond with people and meet new people. And the goal of ChessPals was not only to teach chess, but was to forge relationships and to forge new bonds between high schoolers teaching and their students, and also between new students who bonded through the game that we're playing.
And you're already in a number of states. How do you plan to use this $36,000 award? Oh, and I guess I should make sure the award is specifically to be used for ChessPals. It's not necessarily for you to use for education, right?
It's either or. So I'm still deciding how to disburse that. At this point, I would assume that I would devote some of the award to ChessPals and some to my college as well.
Okay. And so what are some of the goals for growing ChessPals if you do use some of this money for that?
Yeah, so we've also received funding from Marin County in the form of grants, and also we turn a bit of a profit in some programs that we charge a small amount for. And with those fundings and with that money, what we're trying to do is expand ChessPals to all 50 states, or at least the contiguous 48. And the goal with that is to just start programs in each state, and from those programs, hopefully blossom in the way that the one in the Bay Area has. And they can hopefully turn out into greater programs throughout the state in the less populated areas. And even since that introduction was sent to you, we've been branching out with a couple other programs. So we have ones growing slowly but steadily in also Wyoming, Arizona, and Massachusetts. And so hopefully with these programs, our goal is to usually get these going by the start of the next school year. And so maybe by sometime this fall, we'll have programs existing in those states, kind of hopefully being self-serving in that regard.
Well, I'm very pleasantly surprised to hear you have this goal of all 50 states. That's very ambitious, but with this kind of start, it certainly sounds possible. But let me go on a tangent first. What are your college plans?
Yeah, so at this point, again, I'm 17. I'm not completely sure where I will go in life, but I really want to focus on education at the bare minimum and seeing how we can develop the education system of the future. And that might be in ed tech and developing the newest technologies to help learning, or that could be in funding the newest technologies, but something along those lines of education, maybe studying history as well in college. And we'll see how that turns out and where that goes.
Do you have any goal colleges at this point?
I'm still deciding, the process I'm just going into my senior year, so it's still up in the air, but I definitely think something that has a strong focus in education, a strong platform for me to reach out, also continue doing work with ChessPals and try new things and impact new people is definitely at the top of my list.
Well, you're doing my transitions for me from area to area. So that's what I want to bring it back to is, do you see yourself when you're in school still working with ChessPals, still trying to actively grow it? Or do you think that maybe someone will be in a caretaker position until you're done with school?
Yeah, so that's something that I've struggled with a lot because it's kind of like my baby and I don't want to let that completely go. But there's multiple answers to that. The first of which is that since I have established a board of directors of people who can oversee the processes of the charity, we have a grand master on that. We have a former superintendent of a school district, a head of a aging facility for our senior programming, and we have a FIDE arbiter on that. And so we have all facets of the chess community and the learning that we want to be teaching on there. And so even if I do go to college and am less invested in the program, I can still rely on them to oversee everything. And coupled with that, a lot of the chapter heads, as we call them, in other states or other areas of California are fairly self-reliant and are working on their own to continue that legacy once they graduate, since most of them are in high school. And with regards to the Bay Area chapter, there are a couple of my younger teachers who are in 8th grade or freshman year of high school who I've brought up with taking more responsibility and heading up that Bay Area chapter for their time in high school.
You have a mentor through all this? I'm wondering how at your young age, high school age, you have such a handle on what it takes to run a nonprofit.
Yeah, so I would say I'm really thankful for the role that everyone around me has played from my advisory board. I would say they're a big help. My coach for chess is on there, and some great people I've met along the way are also on there. The former director of the mechanics chess room where I play is on there. That's our arbiter. And also just my parents have been a huge help, from advice to everything, and reassurance, giving me confidence has been a huge help. And so my mom and dad, and also my brother, of course, have been huge helps in that way as well.
Well, go ahead and give a shout out to your chess coach and the director of the mechanics that you're talking about.
Yes, thank you so much to Abel Talamontes, who now works at Hamilton Middle School. He runs their chess program, the former director of the mechanics chess room, and then Uneski Quesada, Cuban chess grandmaster, Cuban American. Thank you so much for all you've helped me with, and hopefully I can win this tournament this weekend for you.
Abel is a friend of the podcast, a personal friend, and so I'm glad to hear his involvement. You've got good people on your side.
Definitely.
So as you've been doing this, what's been your biggest surprise or your best learning experience as you've been working with the immigrant community?
Yeah, I would say it extends to everyone that we teach, and that's mainly just the excitement that we see from kids, and that such a game that a lot of people view as complex and difficult to get into can be adapted to so easily by young kids. And it's really just the passion internally that's necessary for you to learn the game and take in all the facets of the game and everything that it offers. And we've seen that in kids from kindergarten even up to sixth graders that we teach, and how you can immediately see someone's eyes light up and take to the game. And that's just been such a heartwarming thing to see, that a program that we provided from scratch has really impacted someone's life like that.
And similarly, I'm wondering what your biggest challenges you faced. I when I wrote that question, I thought maybe it might be learning the ins and outs of running a nonprofit, but it sounds like you've got a good handle on that already. So what have been your biggest challenges with making ChessPals a success?
I would say the biggest challenge is two parts. All of them relate to our learning style and our curriculum. The first of which is how we went through COVID. Again, we started in 2018, so COVID was just in the middle of our growth, and that was a real shock. We went from teaching in-person programs at schools to being completely shut down. We took our programs online, but again, as you know, it's not the same thing, and there's not that element of being in person, that connection that you have. And so that was a struggle. We had to change our curriculum to be able to be online, and a lot of that was difficult, and I had to spend a lot of time figuring out if this could even work online, how we could weather this storm. And the second part of the difficulties that we face with the curriculum is just making it as engaging as we can. We try to make it fun, interactive, dynamic, but every kid learns differently, and every person has a different interest level in chess. And so trying to cater to all of that to make the program worthwhile for everyone who steps into it has been my biggest challenge, and still continuing to be a challenge, as we want to make sure that every kid who sees the program goes, that's something I want to do. That's something I want to try.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And on those challenges, I don't want to keep harping on this nonprofit part, but U.S. Chess Federation, we are a nonprofit ourselves, and it's a challenge to keep a nonprofit up and running on a day-to-day basis. How much did you know coming into this, and how much have you learned either on the fly or just during the process of filling out paperwork and such?
Yeah, so going into it, I had a kind of an understanding of how nonprofits work, as there are some people around me who work at or head nonprofits. And so I had a bit of insight from them, but nothing could compare to what would come, the amount of paperwork, the forms, everything, managing people and having to manage donations, EIN numbers, everything that comes along with that. But it's been a lot of learning. I've had a lot of great people, again, especially people on the advisory board have been extremely helpful, with many of them having experience with this type of organization. And a lot of that help has enabled me to understand the organization's inner workings, and also been able to optimize and streamline it to something that can be worked by a 17-year-old and the volunteers that he has in high school.
So that's actually an aspect I had not considered. Are there any other legalities you have to deal with as a minor with running a nonprofit?
Yeah, so ironically, my parents are the ones who are technically principals on the nonprofit. I can only have the role of executive director. I can't have a chief role, no CEO, CMO, any of that. And a lot of the checks are made out to them, and there's a lot of difficulties along that. But on the operational side, it's all me, but any signature usually goes through them. So
Okay.
very thankful for how engaged they are in that aspect.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I want to read a quote that I from the Jewish News of Northern California that I came upon, that I think kind of explains what you've been doing. Lien's original project was to introduce chess to Venetia Valley students, predominantly first-generation immigrants and many native Spanish speakers, and coach them to playing proficiency. Once he realized its positive impact, he decided to expand the project into other schools. And that ends the quote. You've already talked a little bit about the positive impact, but in there, when it indicates that you had this first moment of realizing the positive impact. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I started at Venetia Valley, as the quote says, for my bar mitzvah project when I was 12, 13. And that was because that school was right across the street from my temple where I was getting bar mitzvah. And so the coincidences were very helpful in that sense. And after seeing the program, we started with with those kids. And we even took some of those kids to a tournament from that inaugural class, and seeing the impact they had, the joy that they had, and also how much they grew, not only as chess players, but as friends and as people from the program. I understood that this could be something greater than just a bar mitzvah program that I stopped after 6 months, and we could grow it into something that could help alter how Marin views chess, and also how chess is portrayed in a lot of these schools.
Have any of these students become tournament players, or is it mainly just that this is now part of their life, not necessarily in a competitive tournament aspect?
Yeah, so not all of them have become regular tournament players, as again, tournaments are fairly expensive with memberships and registration fees, and we can provide that when necessary. But we have had a lot of kids go to tournaments, and even this previous summer in 2022, I guess that was, we had kids go to a tournament after our summer camp, we took them to a tournament with Abel, ironically, and we had kids go there and they placed very well, and it was great to see. And also this past May, I guess that was, we also took some kids to another one of Abel's tournaments. And so we have regular tournaments, but nothing super consistent at a high level. But again, we're always expanding and always bettering how we can provide our programming. So that's something we really want to look forward to in the future, is organizing our own tournaments. I'm registering to be a TE, so hopefully I can organize those as well for our students.
Yeah, you might as well become a TD because you don't already have a long enough resume, right?
Yeah, always working on it though. I mean,
Yeah.
a TD it'd be great, because then we can not only organize our own tournaments, it could be something internal. And if a student asked, I could just set something up. And so it would be super convenient for all of our programs.
So let's take it outside of chess for a bit. What other interests do you have?
Yeah, so I have a big passion. I mean, it relates to chess, but again, for education, and also for kind of relating to chess as well, for languages. I mean, I learned to speak Spanish, and that's been a big impact, not only on how I teach chess, but how I see the world. And besides that, I mean, I love geography, politics, finance. I love playing tennis. I'm on the tennis team. But yeah, I mean, chess has been the focal point of my life for a while now, whether it be teaching or playing, and all of the other interests have sprouted up around that and kind of bolstered that.
So the tennis part is especially interesting to me. Over the 5 years I've been doing these podcasts, people who are involved in chess being involved in tennis has become kind of a theme. And I'm an active tennis player my entire life as well. So I find that when I'm playing and people find out I'm in the chess world, they say it figures because of the way I play tennis. Have you had that particular experience yourself?
Not someone saying it to me, but it does make a lot of sense. And it's something that I've thought about a lot, how chess and tennis are so similar, and how they both are single player and completely reliant on your own skill set and your own mentality. And I think that's a great mindset to take into life in general, that everything that happens to you can be impacted by you, and that by improving yourself, you can change your circumstance.
Yeah. No, that's very well put. Is there anything about ChessPals that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that our listeners know about?
I would say the other thing that we touched on a bit, but something that we haven't fully covered, is also how we are also teaching at senior centers, and that's someone on our board does it as well. And so we teach at some senior centers in Marin, especially Vivillon, which is a healthy aging program for seniors. And that's been a great impact as well, because unlike building bonds for younger kids, building bonds for seniors is more about connection. A lot of seniors are lonely in that aspect, and chess provides them a way to connect with others, and also to learn something new, to keep their mental acuity sharp, and to learn something that not only can connect them with people their age, but can connect them with our volunteers who are teaching, and also if they have grandchildren or kids, can provide something new for them to play with each other.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. And that makes me think too, when you are, I guess, onboarding somebody from another state, talk a bit about that process. And also, do you specifically look for youthful people to be in charge of that?
Yeah, it's all about the leadership, I would say. It's all about the initiative and how much they want it, because I would say because I can't be boots on the ground, I can't be knocking on the school doors with them. If I want the chapter to happen more than they do, I'm not sure if it will pan out that way. So I always look for someone with that level of ambition, that level of hope for creating something in their community. And it's also about not necessarily taking a passive role, but not being too controlling in that sense as well. I'm always there for advice, of course, financial support, curriculum, and so on, but it's also their project. And I want them to be reaching out to schools and coordinating classes. And if I'm doing everything, then what are they doing in that part? And so it's helped them, at least in my experience from looking at it, grow a lot as leaders. And I've seen them take initiative and build new things and lead new teams. And that's been really great to see as well, that we've grown ChessPals into a sort of subsection of different chapters and different organizations.
And has it happened that do people contact you and say, hey, look, I want to get in on this? Or is it that you're reaching out to specific people in specific states?
At first, it was me reaching out because I have to grow, no PR, no anything. But since we've had a lot of press and a lot of, not notoriety, but some media on us, it's been a lot of people reaching out to me. And that's how a lot of our newer chapters have started, is by people, at least very ambitious high school students, going, I play chess, I'm in the chess club at my school, and we don't have a lot of chess programs around here. Can we partner up? Can we use your curriculum? Can you give me some guidance? And how can I start something in my area to provide what you're providing?
Did your parents, since they're not of the chess world, and you made chess part of your bar mitzvah project, you have now won this prestigious Diller Teen Tikkun Olam award, did they have any idea that this was going to be more than just a silly game, perhaps, to them? Did they realize how serious that this could be?
I would say that they always have respected chess, even though my mom plays a decent amount, but my dad doesn't play it that much. But they've always had a large respect for chess players. Again, my dad's also a tennis player, so that connection runs deep as well. And my mom was the one driving me to all of these chess events and giving me that confidence at these tournaments. And so they both have a deep respect for the game and how impactful it can be. And going back to it earlier, they were the ones who gave me confidence. My mom was a big motivator, saying, this can be bigger. I'm seeing the impact you're doing. And although you're content with it being like this and you always want to expand, look at the bigger picture. You can always be affecting more people and changing more lives. And so they were huge motivators in expanding that and always reaching new heights with the organization.
Yeah, that's amazing. So give out some links and contact information.
Yeah, so if you want to reach out, go to chesspals.org. It's just the organization name.org. And I mean, check out our Instagram, ChessPals on Instagram. And if you ever want to reach out to me, henry@chesspals.org is my email. It's on the website as well. And if any of our listeners are high school or older middle school age students who want to start a program, or our parents who think that a school near them might want a program, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I'm happy to see what I can do, or hopefully we can start up a program of ChessPals near you to change more lives and to teach more kids chess.
Well, Henry Lien, it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for everything you are doing to promote this game. Congratulations on all the success you've had and the success of ChessPals.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.